I didn't notice the air had stopped moving until my window blinds froze mid-sway. You know that lazy back and forth they do when there's the faintest breeze, even with the window shut? They just stopped, like something gripped the air and held it perfectly still. At first, I thought it was a power issue. Maybe the fan died. Maybe the AC choked. But the ceiling fan was still spinning. I stood in the middle of my apartment with this weird awareness that nothing around me was moving, despite everything that should have been. Then my phone vibrated. Emergency alert. Wind speed, 0 miles per hour. Do not speak. An absolute stillness event is occurring. The air has stopped moving. Do not speak during this event. Your voice will carry too far. I read it twice, my finger trembling above the screen. It wasn't like the other alerts, no obnoxious beeping or warning tone. Just a quiet vibration, like it didn't want to break the silence. My apartment seemed to shrink around me. I stood there, swallowing dry air that somehow tasted like the inside of a vacuum. Stillness, not just calm, not just quiet, still. There were no cars outside. I live off a busy road near downtown, and there's always something. Tires over gravel, dogs barking, someone shouting 3 buildings over. But now, nothing, not even the faint hum of the fridge compressor. It was like the world had been zipped into a bag and vacuum sealed. I moved to the window and looked out. Everything looked normal, trees unmoving, neighbors' curtains stiff, but the silence felt deeper than it should have, like it had weight, like if I tried to say something, the words would get stuck in the air and hang there. I didn't speak. But I did text my sister. You get that alert? She replied instantly. Yeah, freaky. I whispered hello to my cat and it echoed. From the fucking closet. I stopped breathing for a second. Are you okay? I'm not speaking again. Don't either. I think something heard me. Something? I set my phone down and paced the room. My shoes didn't squeak. My breathing sounded wrong. It sounded loud. The air wasn't carrying the sound away. It just held it. I tested a theory. I clapped once, sharp and quick. It didn't echo. It hung there, like a sound that didn't know where to go. It stayed in the room. I could still feel it seconds later, like it was pressing into my skin. My ears rang with it, as if the clap had nowhere to escape. That's when I noticed something else. From the air vent above my fridge, a voice, not loud, not clear. Just a whisper, my name, Ben. It was my voice, but I hadn't spoken. I stepped backward slowly, eyes locked on the vent. I didn't say anything. I hadn't spoken. I knew I hadn't spoken, but there it was. My voice filtered through the rattle of ductwork like it had traveled miles underground and back again. My name, stretched and softened like old tape. N. I stood there, the muscles in my neck pulled tight, listening. The voice didn't repeat. Nothing else came from the vent. Just silence, crushed silence, the kind that feels like it's actively pressing on your chest. I backed into the hallway and bumped into the wall behind me. The drywall seemed to throb under my touch, like I had disturbed something. That's when I noticed the phones. Every screen in the apartment had gone black. My TV, my laptop, the digital clock on the stove. But the landline, the old, unplugged, cordless landline phone I never used and hadn't touched in years, lit up. The screen was cracked, the battery long since dead, but it lit up, a soft, colorless glow from behind the plastic. Then it rang, not like a real ringtone, like an imitation, a voice mimicking a phone ring. Ring, ring, ring. It came from the handset speaker, distorted and wet, like someone gargling the sound through their throat. I didn't answer it. I couldn't even move. The phone didn't ring again. But from behind the bathroom door, I heard myself speak. Hello? My voice, crisp, confused. Hello. I had said it maybe 1,000 times in my life, but never like that. Not from behind a locked door I hadn't touched all night. I crept down the hall, breathing through my nose, silent. I put my ear to the door and listened. Nothing. I turned the handle slowly. The bathroom was dark, the only light from the LED nightlight in the corner, empty. I checked behind the curtain, opened every cabinet. Nothing. But on the tile floor next to the shower drain was a puddle, thin, still. Not like water had leaked, more like something had condensed. It glistened faintly. Then it spoke again, from the drain. "Ben." I stumbled backward, clamping a hand over my mouth, heart pounding like it was trying to punch out of my ribs. My body screamed to run, but where? Out into the world where everything was silent? I stood there for what felt like an hour, barely breathing. I texted my sister again. "It's mimicking me." It said my name through the vent. It just said hello through the bathroom drain. No reply. I waited. "You okay?" Still nothing. The stillness outside had deepened, the kind of silence that made you doubt your own existence. I tiptoed back into the living room and looked out the window. That's when I saw the neighbor across the street. Mr. Conway, 80-something, oxygen tank, Vietnam vet. He was sitting on his porch in a plastic chair, just staring. He looked pale, not sick, more like bleached. His arms dangled like he was asleep with his eyes open. No breeze moved the trees above him. The American flag pinned to his porch hung limp and dead. His dog lay at his feet, unmoving. Then, suddenly, he spoke. I couldn't hear what he said, but I felt it. The moment his mouth opened, every bird in the neighborhood took off at once, flapping in a silent panic. Something shifted in the air, though the wind didn't return, a ripple in the fabric of the stillness. Then, without warning, he screamed, or tried to. His mouth opened wide, and I saw the veins in his neck bulge. His jaw stretched too far, like it was trying to detach, but no sound came out. None. It was like the air refused to carry his voice, but I heard it anyway. From under my couch, a voice, his voice, warped and terrible. "I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone." I backed away slowly, blood draining from my face. The sound was louder than it should have been, and it wasn't fading, it was looping, like a tape. "I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone." I dropped to my knees and lifted the edge of the couch skirt. Nothing, just darkness. The voice cut out like a wire had been snipped. Silence returned. I could still see Mr. Conway across the street, but now he was slumped over in the chair. His dog was gone, just gone. Not dead, not limping away, gone. My hands trembled. I wanted to scream, call for help, do something, but the alert said, "Do not speak." And I knew, deep down, that if I did speak, it would find me. I barricaded the vents, taped towels under the door, wrapped a blanket around the cordless phone and shoved it in a drawer. I turned off all the lights and sat cross-legged on the bed with my phone in my hand, texting in the dark. "Are you alive?" No response. "Katie, please say something." "Don't say it out loud. Just text." Then came the reply. "It's in the walls. It sounds like me. It's trying to learn how I speak. It asked me how to pronounce your name." I stared at the screen, sick to my stomach. "Don't answer it." I didn't. It asked again, through my toothbrush this time. "Please come get me." I wanted to respond. Wanted to say, "I'm coming." But then I thought, if it's mimicking voices, if it's learning names, what if this wasn't Katie? I texted back carefully. "What was the name of the stuffed animal you slept with until 6th grade? A minute passed. Then, "Mr. Wiggles." I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. "I'm coming." When I stepped outside, the night air felt thick, not cold, not warm, just unmoving, like walking through invisible molasses. The world was frozen, no breeze, no insects, no cars. Every sound I made felt massive. My footsteps were like sledgehammers on pavement. I held my breath as I crossed the street. Katie lived 2 buildings down. I could see her window, shades pulled, faint light behind them. I texted again. "I'm outside. Don't say anything. Just open the door." Nothing. Then a minute later, "It's using your voice now too. Don't come in unless I knock 5 times. If you hear anything else, it's not me." I stared at the text. Then I heard it, my voice, calling softly from behind her door. "Hey, it's me. Let me in." No knock, just the voice. Then again, louder. "Hey, let me in. Katie, please. It's cold out here." The voice cracked and broke like it had copied mine wrong, like it had made a bad recording. Then it giggled. My own laugh twisted and delayed. I didn't move, didn't breathe. I stood there paralyzed, staring at her door. Then the 5 knocks came, soft, rhythmic. The door creaked open and Katie's face appeared. Pale, eyes wild. She grabbed my arm and pulled me inside, slammed the door, locked it, taped it, sealed it with towels and blankets already piled high. Neither of us spoke. Not until we were in the hallway, behind the bathroom with the faucet still dripping. "It's trying to find people," she whispered, voice so low I could barely make it out. The stillness isn't natural, it's listening through things. Pipes, phones, anything that used to carry sound. "What is it?" I mouthed. She just shook her head. "It doesn't echo right. It makes voices too flat, like bad imitations. I think it's learning. Every time someone speaks, it gets closer." She showed me the phone logs on her cracked screen. Dozens of missed calls, all labeled unknown, all 0 minutes long. The most recent one said it was from me. "I never called you," I said. She pointed at the floor. From beneath the boards came the sound of my voice again, clearer this time. "Hey, it's me. Let me in." But this time, it wasn't outside the door. It was under the house. Katie and I didn't move. The voice beneath the floorboards was perfect, down to the slight rasp in my throat when I was nervous. It even said her name like I do, soft, like I was afraid to hurt it. K-T. It dragged the second syllable too long, like it wasn't used to saying names. Then came another voice, her voice. "I know it's you. Let me out." We looked at each other. Neither of us had spoken. I mouthed, "Let's go upstairs." Her bedroom was small, with one window sealed in layers of tape and plastic. In the corner, the radio was on, but the volume was at 0. Katie turned the knob slowly, eyes glued to the red dial. The speakers hissed, then something spoke through the static. Not a song, not a broadcast, a low whisper. "Somebody, say something." Katie snapped it off. "Anything that can carry a voice," she whispered. "Anything." I nodded slowly. We sat on the floor, backs against the bed, staring at the door. I could still hear them, our voices, calling out from beneath us. But there was something new now. Something in the cadence, like it wasn't just repeating, it was trying to have a conversation. The voice said, "Please," then a pause. "I'm afraid." Pause. "Don't leave me down here." Then a knock. From inside the vent in the wall. Katie covered her ears and I could see her fighting the instinct to scream. It knew our names. It knew our voices. It was building something with them, constructing a version of us in reverse, a replay that twisted more each time. Another knock, then a whisper, "Katie," and another, "Ben," then a third, "Do you want to hear how you sound?" Katie stood up and began tearing the batteries out of every electronic device in the room. Clocks, smoke detectors, remotes, anything that could vibrate, chirp, carry a frequency. I followed her lead. The moment we unplugged the modem, something in the wall behind us moaned. Low, like a building sigh, like disappointment. That's when Katie whispered, "I think it lives in the air." I looked at her. She looked serious, pale, sweating. She continued, voice trembling, when everything stopped moving, when the wind died. There was nothing to carry sound away, and now it's like the air is trapping it, holding on to it, like something in the silence wants to keep the noise, wants to wear it. My breath caught in my throat. "Have you noticed the echoes?" she asked. I nodded. "They're wrong. They don't bounce. They linger," I whispered, "like they're looking for a way in." She nodded. That night, we didn't sleep. We sat in silence, writing on scraps of paper if we had to communicate. At 3:17 a.m., my phone buzzed once. A message from no one. No number. Just a blank name. It read, "I like your voice." Katie's screen lit up with the same message. We turned our phones off, took the batteries out. Then we heard the scratching. Not from the walls, not from the pipes, from inside the pillows. I tore mine open. Feathers, dust, and a tiny speaker nestled deep in the stuffing. Still warm. We sat in stunned silence staring at it. Then the speaker crackled and it played my voice again. "Let me in." Katie dropped it in the sink and ran the water. But the drain whispered back, "Let me out." Sunrise came, but the sky never changed color. The blinds glowed slightly, but no shadows moved. No birds sang. Not a leaf twitched outside, and it was still silent, still. Katie sat by the window watching. She wrote on a notepad and passed it to me. My parents spoke before the alert came. I haven't heard them since. I think it got them. I wrote back. Mine too. Maybe not right away, but I haven't heard from them since the first night. Then she wrote, "What if this spreads? What if Win never comes back?" I didn't want to answer, because I'd started to wonder the same thing. At noon, another alert came through, this time across every device that could still show a screen. Alert update. Wind speed, 0 miles per hour. Stillness event ongoing. Do not speak. Seek insulated shelter. Avoid echo chambers. Do not respond to familiar voices. Then the last line flickered, glitched, and it changed. Do not respond to yourself. My mouth went dry. Katie leaned close to me, wide-eyed, and whispered, "It's not just copying anymore." I nodded. She was becoming us. That night, the silence changed. It wasn't empty anymore. It was crowded. Every room in the apartment felt full. Like breathless people were standing shoulder to shoulder, watching us. You could feel the weight of 1,000 invisible bodies pressing on the walls. And then, from every vent and every faucet and every screen we hadn't smashed, came a whisper, in perfect chorus, our names, over and over. Ben, Katie, Ben, Katie. Not mocking, summoning. Katie broke. She screamed. She shouted, "Shut up," at the walls, and every voice stopped. The silence slammed back down like a dropped anvil. Then came one voice, deep, inhuman, but still her tone, still her. "You spoke." The lights exploded one by one. I grabbed Katie by the wrist and we ran, downstairs through the front door out into the dead air. It was like running through underwater glass. No sound, no movement. We sprinted, our footfalls echoing unnaturally down the street like cannon blasts. With every step, our own voices followed us, played back to us. "You spoke, you spoke, you spoke," until finally we made it to the river. The water didn't move, not a ripple. The surface was glass. I fell to my knees, gasping, and leaned over to look into the water. I saw my reflection, but it didn't move with me. It stared back, perfectly still, perfectly smiling. And it whispered, though my lips didn't move, "Speak again." Katie grabbed me by the shoulders and pulled me back just as the water broke open, like something enormous had inhaled from beneath. The sound rushed up in a single desperate gust, and then died. Stillness again. But now I knew it was in the stillness. It was the stillness, and it was waiting. We ran. There was no plan, just distance. Get away from anything that could reflect our voices. Pipes, screens, water, glass. Even pavement felt wrong underfoot now, like our steps might carry too far into the void that listened beneath it all. Katie led us to an abandoned library about a mile from her place. It was small, one of those red brick community buildings with boarded windows and dusty shelves that still smelled of paper and mildew. It hadn't had power in years. That's why she picked it. Inside, the air felt dead, but somehow safer. We took shelter in the reading room deep in the back, where the walls were thick and the carpet swallowed our footfalls. No vents, no mirrors, no phones. We didn't speak. We communicated with scribbled notes on the backs of old checkout cards. "We can stay here for a while, maybe wait it out." I nodded, but I could feel something building in my chest, a pressure, the need to say something, the human urge to break silence, to connect. Even whispers could become unbearable after a few days in total stillness. But we didn't talk. We breathed as quietly as possible, slept in shifts, ate slowly, and the world stayed still. No breeze ever returned. The trees remained frozen. The clouds never moved. On the third day, Katie broke again. She didn't mean to. I think it was a nightmare. She startled awake, eyes wide, and gasped. Just a gasp. But that was enough. Somewhere deep in the stacks behind us, we heard a voice, her voice. "Ben?" I shook my head, frantically mouthing, "Not you, not you." The voice came again, softer now. "Are you there?" Then, from the front doors of the library, my voice found you. The doors creaked open on their own, and that's when I realized it was no longer trying to sound like us. It was trying to become us. It was assembling us from memory, from scraps of noise, from bits of broken speech it had heard through wires and drains and phones and mouths. We scrambled out the back exit, but something followed, not footsteps, sound, a wall of it, choking echoes and mismatched syllables and false laughter, our own voices trailing behind us in a ragged chasing chorus. Ben, Katie, I'm scared. Don't leave me. Help me. You spoke, you spoke, you spoke. We ran through streets with no wind, no light, no birds. We ran until our legs gave out, until our lungs screamed, and then the wind returned, a breeze, a real breeze. The trees rustled, the grass moved, and just like that, it was gone. That was 5 days ago. The emergency alert was pulled from every system like it never happened. The wind moves now, birds sing again, the silence is broken. But we know it's still out there, not in the air, not in the vents, in the echoes. That's how it lingers now. When Katie sneezed yesterday, the sound bounced off the kitchen wall and said, "Bless you," before either of us could. And just this morning I whispered her name and heard it answer me from the unplugged speaker of the old radio in the basement. Not repeat it, answer. And I know, next time it comes back, it won't be asking us to speak. It'll be asking us to listen.